On this special edition of the LightCast, Megan and JP go live from LEDucation in New York City.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is LightCast, special edition, live from LEDucation, recorded March 29th and 30th, 2016.
So
hi, it's
hey.
the LightCast live from LEDucation.
Yeah. So we both have walked the show floor a little bit this morning, and we are doing a little selfie cam to say hi.
Some of us more alert than others. I got in at 2 a.m. last night.
Yeah, and some of us had, job site issues we had to go deal with. So, but anyway, just quick first impressions of the show. Like I said before, I love the tabletop thing because I love that small manufacturers get to show off with as much sort of power as any of the big guys out here. So we got to see some interesting product.
And as a first-time person coming to LEDucation, even though it has grown a lot in the 10 years, and there's a big, hoopla about the 10-year celebration, it's not overwhelming to be here for the first time.
Yeah, I think it's, the scale of the show really lends itself well to actually talking about lighting versus just sort of like big wow booths,
Hi.
Hi. How's it going?
Really good.
It's been busy.
Yeah, it's been a very exciting time at the show. I was also able to attend a few sessions and got some main themes from those.
Yeah, so I was sort of had job responsibilities, so I was more working the show floor. On the technology side, similar to what we saw at Light Fair a few months ago, I think you're seeing the manufacturers settle in a little bit to who their like LED platforms are going to be, who their chipsets are going to be, and that's starting to settle in. And now that we're seeing that settle in, the manufacturers are more comfortable experimenting with different form factors. So you're not seeing that sort of like dramatic shift from, last year we were doing this at 50 watts and now it's 25. But that's not really happening. Now it's sort of the curve is flattening, which is nice because it's giving specifiers a little bit more comfort in choosing product and getting it out on specs. What did you see in the sessions?
Well, in the sessions there was kind of a few common themes about specifying LEDs and pain points that have to go along with them for architects and for interior designers. They're still basically saying, if you have a 3000K light from one manufacturer and a 3000K light from another manufacturer, is it going to look the same? No, you have to mock it up. Also, they're still talking about the basics in terms of, know where your drivers are going to live, know which driver and which dimmer are most compatible with your light source. So just some very basic stuff, and then what is really the definition of white light. So I think that is and the main takeaway was do mock-ups.
Right. Right. So, I think, we're still in a world where different chip manufacturers are going to create different tones of white. That's not necessarily new. Like, if you were, old enough to remember the T8 and T5 fluorescent days, which are still with us, by the way, the 3000K from a Philips is going to be different than the 3000K from an Osram.
But another thing that I wanted to just mention from the show floor, and this is stuff that I have tweeted, and that is actually there are some beautiful new designs coming out in OLED prototypes. So there was a really neat, just beautiful, classic, modern sconce, OLED sconce prototype at the can't remember the actual Vision Quest, I believe Vision Quest lighting design. And then as well, I tweeted Visa Lighting's new OLED prototype called Petal, and it has some really neat high reflectance material on the top of it that it looks like the top of the fixture is illuminated when it's actually just highly reflective of the light that's coming off of the OLED panel. And in that vein, it's just, you're seeing a lot of new materiality that is making it possible to have maximum illumination with not very many lumens. And so I think that's something that's really coming into play in the interiors realm, and also the interest in linear and continuous linear illumination.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of manufacturers are sporting their linear capabilities. There are also a lot of rings. A lot of manufacturers are talking about their new rings. Large, small, very bright, not so very bright, decorative, fine finishes, more structural finishes. Rings are big.
Modular rings, reconfigurable rings.
So if you were looking for LED rings, you're in the right time of the market. They're all there now. We were talking a little bit off camera about the idea that a lot of these, it's almost got like a Silicon Valley feel, in the sense that like a lot of these smaller startups are jumping into the market, looking at fixing a particular problem, and then they're getting scooped up down the line by, they're exiting to a purchase, or they're exiting to an IPO or whatever, but they're generally exiting into larger companies, which I actually think is not a bad thing. We've seen some purchasing happen over the last, 6 months to a year, that I think have strengthened both sides of those coins.
I agree. I think that you can see that reflected in the light sources that are becoming extremely refined, not only from their black body dimming capabilities, but also kind of from a extremely specialized standpoint. For instance, Staccato was showing their modules. One was for specifically for vanity, for making people's skin tones look good, basically. I think that was developed specifically for the impetus was a request from Estee Lauder. And then they also have their artist series, and then their retail color series, and it just makes a crisp definition on your product in a retail environment, and then also in an art and museum, an artifact environment. That's where they use their artist series. And I think that interior designers and architects really appreciate that capability to very, very much fine-tune their light source. And I think maybe that's a result of some of the companies having more intellectual property to play with.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think, the push, I think, and this is just the reality, now that the technology on the basic level has more or less been solved, what we're starting to see is much tighter innovation into specific applications and form factors. So, everybody was clamoring to create an LED T8 tube, for instance. Now we're starting to see both the price come down and the reliability of that product get better. Everybody was making an LED high bay, and they were all glary disasters, right? And now we're seeing LED high bays that are actually, you wouldn't mind working under for 8 or 12 hours a day. It used to be that RGB was only for, theatrical heads or things that, we're shooting out for facade lighting or things like that. Now we're seeing them in downlights. We're seeing them in applications that are unique and sort of still architecturally valid. So, hello to France, who just checked in and said hi.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
It's probably bonsoir there, sorry.
Bonsoir. I don't speak French. So we're seeing a lot of really nice innovation, a lot of really nice technology. And I'm interested to see sort of what the jumps are, because we're right around the corner from Light Fair. So a lot of these guys are going to come back around in a couple months and do this all over again. I'm not going to Light Fair, sadly, this year. But
I won't be there either.
Yeah, so
it's a bummer.
So anyone going to Light Fair and want to be on the LightCast, let us know. We'll definitely have you on to talk about it. you have anything else that you wanted to jump out with, or?
Just a little bit more from the materiality side. I can't help but notice some interesting, innovative hanging pendants that are incorporating acoustic materials in order to create a nicer acoustic environment even when you have high ceilings. And they're incorporating things like moss in some of their lighting, which is living, and so that's kind of interesting and innovative. So I would say, look more for some interesting materiality incorporated into LED drop pendants.
Absolutely. All right. That's our update from here. We're going to do a full-blown show, probably with a guest, in the next week or two to finish up the show and talk about where the market is right now. Read Architectural SSL, listen to LightCast, keep going, and let us know.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
This is AV.
This
This
is AVNation.
Nation.
This is AVNation.